This is not a test. This is your emergency broadcast system announcing the commencement of another purge of the BS, sanctioned by the First Amendment. Frustration levels 0 to 100 have been authorized for use during this purge. All weapons are restricted. Government officials have not been granted immunity from the purge of the BS and shall undoubtedly receive the smoke. Commencing at the sound of the gong, any and all BS, especially unnecessary goofiness, will be purged without consequence. Police, fire, and emergency medical services will be available, but they will be busy because they too will be watching the purge of the BS. Blessed be those who have already been victims of some BS. May God be with you all.
We can enter any home we want, and we will want. His wanting is our will on this fine night. Don't force us to hurt you. He's just a purge. Too loose, Andy.
They in here early. Let's go. Mods in the building, Purple Groovy in the building, IMG in the building, Al Bond in the building. Let's get going, y'all.
You better find someplace else to go.
I got a wicked sweet tooth tonight. And I want my candy back.
All right. Let's get ready to purge this BS on a Thursday. Thank y'all for coming in nice and early. IMZ, Purple Groovy. Appreciate y'all. Seriously. Because I got a couple things I need to cover. We had an interesting week so far. This is the last show of the week. We're going to take the weekend off. You'll see the shorts just coming. Pause. But this week has been up and down. Always the BS. So make sure you hit the like button. If you're just getting into the show, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you become part of the Purge Collective, okay? I ain't gonna take too much time with the intro. You got the point. This is the Purge of the BS. Nobody's safe. Whatever comes across the board, We purge that, okay? So thank y'all for coming on in here one more time. We will begin to purge this BS. Let me tell y'all what. As I like to start sometimes with some prelims, I just want to tell you, I've been looking around the market for whatever's supposed to be our opportunities out here, like job and employment and business building, things like that. And a lot of this stuff is a lot of word salad, numbers that look good on paper, but it doesn't really materialize for the average person. And I think that we need to expose the fact that trying to get ahead some of these spaces, the scam likely, okay? It is definitely not as easy as it should be for a person who has the drive to be able to get to the network. We're going to talk about a few things today, but of course we're going to start out, we're going to keep the palette light because there's been this uproar about these damn baby videos, okay? Now, I'm going to tell you I'm going to tell you right away. I'm a fan of the baby video. I'll tell you why. When you put the baby videos in the context that this one is, which is like some congressional people, it's obvious it's not real. Like they're not the real people. So you're not taking it as somebody doing something that they didn't do. But that's number one. But number two is if they're using the actual audio from something, then it is authentic to that, and you're not being misrepresented by that either. So there's been this uproar about them not doing baby videos of like federal people. You know, they're doing this new crackdown on, I don't want to call it free speech, free expression. And so I wanted to bring y'all one of these videos, right, that has now been, I don't know what the word is, but they're trying to basically come down against this kind of content. Let's take a look at it, and then y'all can tell me what you think. All right? See what we got here. So this is apparently a congressional hearing, right, with Adam Schiff and Kash Patel, right? I thought it was funny, but some people think it's offensive to do satire of our congressional and federal leaders like this. I don't know, man. Sensitive days, but anyway.
So let me ask you, who are those cabinet members that Ghislaine Maxwell was referring to that that were part of this cast of characters associated with Mr. Epstein? Who are they?
The Deputy Attorney General took the aggressive step that no one else did and interviewed Miss Maxwell for
No, I'm
2
asking you,
days,
who are
and
the
we
ca-
released
who are
the
the cabinet
entirety
members?
of that
Who are the cabinet
transcript.
members?
I do not have that transcript in front of me. You're picking it piecemeal. The American
And
public can read the entirety of
Let me ask you
that.
one last question, because you clearly won't tell us the cabinet members associated with Mr. Epstein. Let me ask you one last question. And that is, right after she gives this testimony in front of an FBI agent, among others, she's transferred to a minimum security prison not suitable for a sex offender like herself. Who made that decision and why?
The Bureau of Prisons.
The Bureau of Decisions made it in
Prisons.
The Bureau of Prisons decided on their own, without any consultation with Blanche or anyone else, that they were going to suddenly, after this interview, completely unrelated to this interview, completely unrelated to anything she said, move her to a prison not suitable for a sex offender. You want the American people to believe that? Do you think they're stupid?
No, I think the American people believe the truth, that I'm not in the weeds on the everyday movements of
you're not in
inmates.
the weeds?
What I am
The
doing is
most-
protecting this
the
country,
most- the
providing
most
historic
significant
reform,
witness-
and
the most
combating the
significant witness,
weaponization of
the
intelligence
Epstein
by the likes
files
of you.
cover-up
And we have
gets
countlessly proven you to
from
be a
your
liar in
administration,
Russiagate, in
and you
January
call that
6th.
being
You are
in
the
the
biggest
weeds?
fraud to ever sit in the
This
United States
stinks to
Senate.
high
You are a
heaven.
disgrace to this
This stinks to high
institution
heaven.
and an utter
And
coward.
I'm not surprised.
I'm not surprised that you continue to lie from your perch and put on a show so you can go raise money.
Hold on, I gotta stop it, man. Because I'm playing this because they're saying that because of the content of what they're covering, that it's making light of very serious situations. I forgot what the terminology was, but basically they're saying that this kind of stuff has to stop because it makes light of very sensitive, there you go, very sensitive content. So it's considered sensitive content. Talk about like Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, things like that. When you put a baby, which I think is great, this is actually makes it more digestible. Like I would watch congressional hearings more if the babies were doing it. That's just me personally. It's more entertaining. But I think we have to give it up for whoever did the AI work on it as well, because that is actually really impressive. Okay. And so shouts to Diaper Diplomacy, name of that channel. They apparently have a bunch of videos like this, and there's been some uproar about it. I'll let this one finish, but I'm just saying this isn't like hate speech, but they're saying that it's making light of serious situations by doing this.
For your
And for good
charade,
reason.
you are a political buffoon at best.
Well, you can take an internet troll.
Take it to the bank that the FBI is protecting this country and the state and citizens of California. We are bringing historic reform.
Point of order.
But all you care about is a child sex predator that was prosecuted by a prior administration, and the Obama Justice Department and the Biden Justice Department did squat. And what did President Trump do? Bring new charges courageously. And what have we done?
Chairman,
You said
take
I'm the
control
most
of this
transparent
situation.
FBI director in history.
Take control of this
33,000 pages of information to you. I challenge you to say anything credibly to the truth. Go ahead and run to the cameras where you want to go now.
Wow. So nonetheless, I don't think they should be trying to cancel that. I think we've got 1,000 other things that, as far as things that we see on the internet, that people should be coming up against. I don't see why there's an issue. I think it's actually pretty entertaining. And like I told you, I love the baby videos. I think the baby videos are cool because you know it's not the real thing. You know it's not supposed to be somebody who actually exists at a certain point doing something that could be detrimental. You know it's supposed to be entertainment. It's kind of like how you know movies are fake, you know? But with some of the stuff on the internet, because it's not a movie and you're not assured that it's not fake or is fake, that sometimes you would see certain things and believe that they're true. For example, like when they had that, it was an AI of Barack Obama getting arrested a couple months back, the thing made the front page of the newspaper. But it was because some people didn't know that it wasn't real. Like, it was weird. But anyway, thank y'all for coming on in here and enjoying the baby video. But if they decide that they want to try to cancel this kind of stuff, I think we need to come up against that, because everybody else gets to come back and do what they're going to do. So with that, we got to talk about this secondary. Lucky on. Now, first of all, make sure you hit the like button. That's your responsibility. Hit it, and then if you're on mobile, which you should be because we're using the vertical, hit the reactions. You know, the little strip on the side with the hearts and the what is that, confetti? That thing. Hit that thing a few times. So, Z, I get it, but I don't think it should be canceled like it's bad. I get it that they're using babies in the place of what's a real situation, which is considered a sensitive topic. Epstein is sensitive. It's a sensitive topic for the American public. So when you kind of make light of it, it's almost like how Jimmy Kimmel made some jokes and got his ass canceled for about 4 days or whatever. But he came back. So we're going to dive into that. And what does that say, that Jimmy Kimmel came back? Does it mean that Trump chickened out? What does that mean? What does that mean? We're going to have to discuss that. Because I wasn't watching Jimmy Kimmel, so maybe this was a good PR stunt. Might have brought some extra views to him, at least for the most recent episode, because people just wanted to see what he was going to say anyway. So he got y'all on that. He got me, because I got the clip, something like it. Let's see if they try to give me an ad first. Come on, man. Do that. It looks like it's getting ready to come up. Just bear with me a second. All right, it's doing something weird here. Refresh the page. All right, it doesn't want me to see. Being really mean. But anyway, let me just bring it over. I'll figure it out. Because we do need to have a discussion about this. Because there was a lot of people that felt a certain type of way about this whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. And apparently it was mostly the celebrities that went to bat for him. A lot of the celebrities, they were like, look, we're not going to act, or whatever their thing was that they weren't going to do as long as Jimmy Kimmel was off the air. So we had 4 days of them not doing whatever the hell it was that they all said that they weren't going to do. I don't really know that the population missed anything. I don't think anybody canceled any shows or anything, but whatever. Kimmel is back here. See if I can get this page to refresh properly. We'll just go over the. You know what? I gotta have this. I think CNN wants me to set up an account or something. Flip play. Let's go. There we go. All right, so I know I'm going to take a hit for it. So I'll try to skip through it. Maybe I'll change the pace of it. I don't know exactly how I'm going to get through this, to be honest. But we got to go over it, okay? Once this damn ad is over. They gave me an ad. So make sure during our advertisement time here, hit the like button. Throw a comment in the chat. Let us know how you're feeling so far. See what we got. All right, let's do it.
You understand that it was never. I want to make something clear because it's important to me as a human, and that is, you understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't.
Hold on, Jimmy got choked up. Did Jimmy choke up? He choked up. Hold on. Did Jimmy choke up? Jimmy choked up.
You understand that it was never my intention to make light of the murder of a young man. I don't think there's anything funny about it. I posted a message on Instagram on the day he was killed, sending love to his family and asking for compassion, and I meant it. I still do. I've had the opportunity to meet and spend time with comedians and talk show hosts from countries like Russia, countries in the Middle East, who tell me they would get thrown in prison for making fun of those in power, and worse than being thrown in prison. They know how lucky we are here. Our freedom to speak is what they admire most about this country. And that's something I'm embarrassed to say I took for granted until they pulled my friend Steven off the air and tried to coerce the affiliates who run our show in the cities that you live in to take my show off the air. That's not legal. That's not American. One thing I did learn from.
Okay, well, let's unpack the first part here. Me personally, I never really thought that what he said was that bad. Like it was probably more poorly timed than it was a poor message. Like it was just the timing was a little off, and people were very sensitive at that point. Like very sensitive. The wounds were very sensitive at that point. So it was just poor timing. I don't really think Kimmel's joke was because the president did immediately go from a question about Charlie Kirk to talking about the reconstruction of the White House ballroom and how nice it looked. So I saw where the joke came from. I didn't think it was that bad. And the other piece of it was about, I guess, MAGA folks trying to prove that the guy wasn't one of theirs. But what is theirs? What are we talking about with theirs? Because if we're talking about young white males, he is one of theirs. You know what I'm saying? Just saying, he's not one of ours. He's not one of mine. He's one of y'all's. So he's one of theirs. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not saying me and Jimmy Kimmel agree in the way he said it. I'm just saying, personally, look, we got enough issues in the inner cities and black communities. It's not our kids that keep jumping on the rooftops though with the sniper rifles. So you gotta get your kids, okay? We gotta get our kids. You gotta get your kids. It'll make the whole thing a lot better. So when he said that statement, that's what I was thinking. Just like I guess it was the governor of Utah when he was like, we were hoping it wasn't one of us. What do you mean one of us? What did you mean? Did you mean American citizens like on paper, or did you mean Utah Caucasian people or something along those lines? I believe he meant Utah Caucasian people, which of course we found out that was. So Jimmy Kimmel's statement was not necessarily incorrect when he said what he said. So I'm not a big Kimmel fan. I'm all about First Amendment speech, especially when it's not hate speech. And I don't believe that he was promoting hate speech with what he said that got him canceled. But he's trying to make a comeback in here. He's trying to sound like he's going hard a little bit. And I'm going to let him try. But, Kimmel's not a hardcore kind of comedian to me. So let's see what he says about the fact that he got canceled.
From Lenny Bruce and George Carlin and Howard Stern is that a government threat to silence a comedian the president doesn't like is anti-American. That's anti-American.
I forgive him.
Yo, I'm gonna tell you right now that I'm not even gonna go into it.
Teachings of Jesus, as I do, there it was. That's it. A selfless act of grace, forgiveness from a grieving widow. It touched me deeply.
The president waited more than a day to weigh in on Disney's decision to bring Kimmel back, which was kind of a conspicuous silence. He waited until an hour before this show aired, essentially trying to preempt whatever Kimmel was going to say. And the president's message was one both of disbelief, but also intimidation. And just to take it piece by piece, the president saying the White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. So the president saying there for the first time that the White House was somehow involved in.
Take his phone. Somebody take this man's phone, please. Tell Pawpaw stop with the late night tweets. This is the president of the United States. And I get it. You got an opinion on it, but let's be real. Why are you, what is this, Truthing? Is this Truth Social? This is Truthing? What's good, no reply? I see you in the chat over here. So this is Truthing, I guess. So he basically he's not giving the endorsement to Jimmy Kimmel's return. And that's powerful. If the president says that your show is crap, I'm sure that'll resonate with a few people. It may not resonate with everyone, but he's not just saying, he's not even talking about the Charlie Kirk situation, really. He's just talking about the fact that the show sucks. That's the funny part about it, is what started this and what caused the problem is not even a mention at this point. That he says this, doesn't even mention that. He's just like, hey, his ratings suck. He's not funny. You know, he puts the network in jeopardy because he's doing Democrat garbage. Now, that's up for opinion. I don't know whose garbage it is. But I'm just saying, he says this, and then Jimmy Kimmel comes right behind that an hour later with the tears, sounding pretty damn believable in my opinion. Like, kind of being like, I'm sorry about that. But at the end of the day, let me say something that I noticed that a lot of people haven't noticed is God's back in the conversation a little bit. I mean, you can take that how you want it, but God's back in the conversation a little bit. I heard Jimmy Kimmel say the name Jesus on network TV. That is rare. Y'all don't understand. It used to be a thing. It is very rare. So he mentioned that. Then they had the turning point thing with the Charlie Kirk thing, and his wife is talking about she forgive the shooter that just shot her husband a week ago because of Jesus. So, hey, God's back in the conversation a little bit. I'm going to say that. I've heard a lot more about God and Jesus and stuff in the last week or two on network television and network outlets than I've heard in probably 15, 20 years. So if that's the conversation that's being had, you know what? I'm all for it. But somebody get Pawpaw phone and stop letting him send out this crazy stuff. But it is his thing. Like the True Social, it's like he owns that. So he's probably going to blend it in with this TikTok thing. But no, I don't think he should have came at Jimmy Kimmel like that. If you want to come at somebody, well, you know what? He said crap about Kimmel, but he blamed the network, which is the directed anger that you should have. The issue is with the network because he has no platform if the network doesn't give him one. So at least he kept it directed at the network, and his reasoning was because he doesn't like Jimmy Kimmel's content. So, but even so, get Pawpaw phone. Stop.
So the president saying there for the first time that the White House was somehow involved in these discussions about ABC and suggesting that they were told something completely different from what Disney was saying publicly, which was that this was a suspension. Now, the president goes on to write, he is yet another arm of the DNC, and to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we're going to test ABC on this. Let's see how we do. And then pointing to the $16 million settlement that he received from ABC in their defamation lawsuit last year.
Anyway, so Jimmy Kimmel returned to late night TV, and he basically, as you could see, he was well received, at least from his crowd. the internet, you know, some people are like, it was a fake apology. You know, it was generated tears. It was good acting or whatever. But at the end of the day, he still came back and he did apologize. So at least he apologized, but he apologized for people taking it out of context. He didn't apologize for what he said. He just was saying, look, I can't believe y'all took it that way. I'm sorry y'all took it that way. That's pretty much what he said. And to some degree, I agree with him. I don't think it was that serious a joke that he had to lose a 20-something year career with no backup plan overnight because the president didn't like his joke. So you got to think about it. When the president don't like your stuff, there's a bunch of people that just will go along with that. It's a way to get you canceled real quick. So they're basically talking about the show is important. What's important is that we live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. Not really sure what that means. And he talked about how people overseas say that we're lucky to have what we have. But basically, he also snitched them out and said that Trump has called for them to fire Jimmy Fallon as well. Let me say this. If you don't want people to not like you, you should not fire people all the time that obviously just don't agree with you. Jimmy Fallon is entitled to his opinion and not agree with the president, and Jimmy Kimmel as well. So I think we got bigger fish to fry than what's showing up on late night ABC TV. I'm just saying. But it is what it is. I mean, I'm glad to see that they gave Kimmel his job back, not because I watched the show, but I just thought it was, that was a bland and obvious, we're bending the knee for the president. Any other time, comedians say way worse shit daily all over the place. So obviously this was more targeted because President Trump does not like ABC anyway. If you ever hear him in the press conferences and stuff like that, he does not like ABC. So anything they do, he already doesn't like. So when that happened, I guess he tried to flex his arm. They initially bent to it. Then they said, maybe not, because enough of the actors and other people came up and said, no, we're not going to have that. So maybe if we get that kind of response to other things, we might avoid additional BS. Okay, we'll see. We will see. All right, let's keep it going. All right, so guys, the debauchery has taken another turn here. I don't even know why this is coming to me, but apparently there's a show called The Golden Bachelor. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it. I don't know. So it's The Bachelor, but it's like an old dude who's got some money. So it's like a sugar daddy show. A sugar daddy show. There you go. At least from what I gather. Because you can't be the Golden Bachelor and not have no money. Like, they're not gonna have the Golden Broke Bachelor. You gotta have a couple dollars to be the Bachelor. They don't just come out and randomly select some dude out of nowhere, right? But this guy named Mel Owens, he basically got on there, and I guess he was doing his prelim, what I'm looking for in a woman interview, and he said something and pissed off a bunch of ladies, and he had to come back and apologize for it. So it looks like what he said was that he didn't want anybody over 60 years old, and they came back. They came down hard on him. Let's just say that they came down hard on him. So let me bring this story over here to you. All right.
Lines, of course, with some comments about age and dating. You since apologized.
If they're 60 or over, I'm cutting them.
I was just wanting to know, was that apology sort of based on something you'd learned, or was that...
All right, so hold on a second. If you missed what was said, he said when he was coming onto the show, he said if the woman is 60 or over, he's cutting them just on age alone. Because he's looks like he's in his 60s, and he probably just don't need somebody that's old like him. I don't know. That sounds like a preference. I don't think it should have been a bad thing, but okay. You're on the Golden Bachelor. You got your little money. Why not get you something around 45, you know? Get you a 45 instead of getting you a 60, you know? I don't know. I think that was just preference. But you know what happens? As soon as you say some shit about preference, even as a 60-something-year-old, most 60-something-year-old guys wouldn't even care if somebody had a problem with it. They'd be like, I'm too old to care. But this guy apparently cared. So I just wanted to make sure you heard what the problem was. He said that, and the women came down.
Something you'd learned, or was that because there was a social media PR fire?
My friend, who I went to school with, she's my age, at the time 65. She
Jay
called me,
Coleman,
"What
what's
are you
up?
doing?"
I see you in the chat.
She said, "What are you doing?" I go, I made a mistake. She goes, "Yeah, you have to reconcile. What are you talking about, right?" So she made me realize, like, hey, like what you did was just way out of bounds.
All right, pause it again. So what you said, what you felt, and somebody that was a friend from high school hit you up in the DM or whatever, this friend who apparently is very close to you and probably is single, that you're not trying to get with, and that person told you to come out and say that you were wrong. Now, you're 60 years old. Most opinions at 60 don't change like that. That means he feel that way. But he felt bad about how it made his friend feel. So to him, it didn't matter, coming out and saying an apology, because what does happen is if you say stuff like that, you cut yourself off from a certain group of women who may or may not still be in the game. So it benefited him to retract the statement if he wants to be open to more options. But for a person to say anybody over 60, I don't want them, well, you know how many women are under 60? You got a lot of women there. So I can't fault the guy for his preference. And I will say, if you feel like that, bro, stand on it. There was nothing wrong with standing on it. Your friend could have came and said, hey, this is how I feel about it. And you could have said, hey, I'm sorry, but you would have got cut too, ma'am. I love you from high school, but I'd have cut you too. And then you stand on that. You don't come back and be on some, well, she taught me that at 60-something, she ain't teach you nothing. You just thought about it, was like, you know what? I could probably get more options doing it this way, and I don't want to be known as like a jerk to the women because I said anybody that's over 60, I don't want them. But it sounds reasonable. He's like 65, so maybe he don't want nobody over. That doesn't make any sense that they would be that pissed. But what doesn't make sense is if you're a masculine man, you got to stand on your shit. And if that's how you feel, that's okay. That's not cutting the rest of the population out from having a man. They just can't be with you. And you can stand on that. Jesus.
What he did was just way out of bounds.
Now, there were rumors that you might
What are you
quit or be
talking about?
replaced. And I just want to know, did you ever consider dropping out? Was that ever close?
Those are rumors.
Just rumors.
I never contemplated stepping away. Never did.
And I'd have to imagine the Golden Bachelor producers probably had a word to say or something like that.
I don't remember exactly the conversation, but they stood by me, and thankfully they did, and I had a great time, and appreciative of giving me a second chance.
Is your ultimate goal is to find love, or are you looking for marriage, or?
I think love is always is a good thing, right?
I find it interesting how he separated love and marriage. He said, are you looking for love? Are you looking for marriage? As if the two things cannot be connected to each other. Yeah, this is funny to me. He said, are you looking for love? You looking for marriage? So what did he say? Are you looking for some cooch? Are you looking for some cuddle buddies? Or are you looking for a sugar baby? Like, we can be more specific. Let's be honest, fellas. This man should not have retracted that statement. There was nothing wrong with saying that he didn't want somebody over 60 and he's like 65. That's not even a big gap. It'd be different if he said he didn't want somebody over 30. Then it'd be like, wow, that's weird. But okay. It would still be acceptable. Bill Belichick's got a girlfriend that's like 26 or some crazy shit. And we accept that. So this dude, I feel he's a punk to me. You the Golden Bachelor. That means you good with or without somebody at this point in your life. So what you're not going to do is change your standards because somebody on the internet or some old friend from high school said something. Nah, they threatened that check. Somebody that was a producer for the show was probably like, hey, I'm 60. And I don't appreciate what he just said. And that's probably what happened. Because, nah, I don't give a damn. And not at 60. You're not going to tell me nothing about my standards or my preferences at 60 or over 60. I want what I want. If it ain't what I want at that time, I ain't got much time left. Why would I want to spend it with something that doesn't make sense? So I get it. If this guy's got a little money, he's trying to have himself a little lady, he didn't want somebody over 60, I don't see why he couldn't have just stood on that. He backtracked on the whole thing. He was like, yeah, the producers were really nice about it. Like I said, the producers had a problem with it. He didn't have an issue with it. So as a man, you got to stand on that, bro. I'm just saying. Jay Coleman, you feel me? You feel me, Jay Coleman? Women have standards and preferences. It's okay to have standards and preferences. Why this man had to do a statement about, I'm sorry to all the old over 60 ladies that I offended with them. Shut up. Who cares if you, at least you don't have to worry about them bothering you if that's who you don't want. The honesty is what we're supposed to be rewarding. But instead of that, they want him to lie. You know what I'm saying? They want him to give people a false sense of security. That's an illusion. When he got to lie about it. You see what I'm saying? That means you had no chance, but he just lying to you to make you feel good. So let's stop lying to people, man. Let's stop doing that. Let's stop doing it. I don't like what they did with him. And they kind of, to me, that was embarrassing. They like, stand on it, bro. That's all I'm saying. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. This is America. That's how you feel like that. And then leave it alone. Anyway. All right, guys. All right. Sorry. I hate when they do that. And see, that's the new world. Where a grown-ass man, and I say grown-ass man, he's in his 60s, can have a preference, and the internet and women can make him literally be like, no, I'm sorry about that. What are you talking about, bro? Stop. Stand on it. 10 toes down, chest out. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. If you don't want no woman over 60, then you don't want no woman over 60. Stop lying to these ladies out here, making them think that you want a woman over 60, so these 60-year-old women think they got a chance with your ass. You wasting their time. So be honest. Sorry, that's very frustrating to me. Because he didn't even say, like, I met this woman who was over 60 and she was gorgeous and I was like, oh my God, that changed my mind. No, he said somebody called him. That means he didn't change his mind. Somebody else changed his mind at 65. Get the f out of here. Anyway, move on to the next thing. See, this is where we get into it, man. This is where we get into it. This is how I get in trouble. Punk. Anyway.
Today we're learning more about a man arrested in a state.
All right. So we're going right to the damn parenting and the kids again. Right when I got I got elevated and excited. So while I'm calming myself down here as we get into this next story, I need y'all to hit the like button. Okay? And make sure you hit the reactions. If you're on that vertical, just get your thumb tapping it and get used to it. Like get a rhythm to it. All right? Telling you, man, Jay Coleman knows. No retraction. None of that. Not at 65, no sir. You can't tell me nothing at 65 about what I want. Shit. I'm sorry, that just really 65 years old. You ain't gonna tell me a word about your little preference about my preference. You better get your preferenced ass out of here with that. And then you got to come on TV and talk about it sounding all overly sensitive. The Golden Bachelor. The Golden Bachelor got a golden shower. That's why he got pissed on. He got pissed on by us over here at the Purging The BS. And so let's move on to someone else who needs to be pissed on. Because I think they got another one messing with the damn babies. And you know we don't like that over here. I mean, I don't know what space likes that. I hope there's not one because we don't like them. And if you know of a space that likes messing with the babies, let me know. I'll stop by. So in this one, apparently a Florida swim coach got arrested in a sting operation where he was trying to set up a rendezvous with 15-year-old child. Now, we got to cover these because I believe that a lot of the problems that we have in America have to do with parenting issues. Parents not being aware of things or just knowing what to look for. And a lot of our predators exist in the exact system that we have to send the children to. That's the scam. So it's like you want your children to be safe, but most of the predators, I'd say 90% easily, work in the school system somewhere, or they're a coach, or because, if you're an addict, you're going to go where your drug is, where your dopamine fix is. So if you're into the babies, you're going to go where the babies are. And that's not to say that all teachers are like that. No. But that's where people go. That's where they want to be if they want to get to the babies. So this guy apparently was a swim coach. And let's see what the hell he got to talk. Sick of this shit.
Today we're learning more about a man arrested in a sting operation that used to work with students. Polk County deputies say he was trying to have sex with who he thought was a 15-year-old boy. Channel 9's Valerie Boyd joining us live from outside Montverde Academy, where he worked at that private school. And Valerie, we're told he also worked for the Lake County School District.
So he works at the school locally, and he works for the school district, meaning he could get around the different schools doing different things. They didn't even say what he did. I guess he was a swim coach. So once you coach for the county, I guess, you can coach at any school in the county. You get a certification that says, I can coach all over. And so he was running around. And you know what? I'm going to just let the little story play.
That is correct. He worked here at the academy in 2024, and school administrators say he also worked for the district back in 2017. Deputies want everyone to know as a precaution.
Polk County deputies arrested 40-year-old Trey Taunton after they say he sent social media messages to an undercover detective posing as a 15-year-old boy. According to investigators, those messages describe the sex acts he wanted to perform. Investigators say he told deputies he was a psychotherapist for family life counseling, and prior to that, he was a swim coach and guidance counselor at Montverde Academy.
A guidance counselor. What were you trying to guide these children into? You know what?
Lake County. Taunton faces charges including traveling to meet a minor, use of a computer to seduce a child, as well as attempted lewd and lascivious conduct. A Montverde Academy spokesperson says he has not worked at the private school since 2024. They released a statement saying, in part, during his time at MVA, we received no allegations of improper conduct, and he was employed only after passing a level 2 background check, as we require of all employees and coaches.
Certified.
And Taunton pleaded not guilty in court to the allegations. Meanwhile, again, deputies say if you had any suspicious encounters with him, definitely give him a call.
That if you know this man, Trey Taunton, and you've been in contact with him, you need to let the police know, because he is now in custody and they think he did a little bit more. But what I want you to hear is, up until he was caught texting, basically a minor bot. I don't know what to call this, because it was a federal agent posing as a 15-year-old boy. Now, how you make the wormhole dig into, I'm going to impersonate a 15-year-old boy and get on the internet, whatever server they're on, Discord or YouTube or Facebook or Snapchat, I don't know. Grindr, I think, isn't it Grindr is the one they keep saying is the one they've been doing that with? And so, from what I'm hearing in the story, okay, he is a licensed swim coach, but he was not currently working in swimming. So they're looking for anybody who he encountered when he was doing that, so they could probably bring more charges. But it sounds like he wasn't actually working at the school at the time when this happened. It sounds like he was between jobs and used to work for the school and was still registered as a coach. Either way, when you're getting into a text messaging thing with a minor, whether it's a federal agent or not, if you are pushing for sexual contact with this person, you are wrong. Whether it turns out to actually be that, I don't believe that you should be given forgiveness because of that. I think we may have avoided you going out there and doing something that would have actually harmed a live person when it comes to these kind of crimes. And like I said, it's because I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside, okay? I believe that. I know it's funny, but you got to give them a sense of pride, you know, to make it easier, okay? Let the kids be kids. When this happens to them, they don't get to be children anymore. So I'm all for them doing sting operations for these particular types of people. They don't need to be around the rest of us, because if we turn our heads or our children get into social media or some of those other sites that they really shouldn't be part of, these type of people can take over. So I'm all for it. I'm all for it. Like I said, I know a lot of folks are like, it's entrapment and da-da-da-da-da. But for real, if you were like a 15-year-old boy trying to have sex with me and you sent me a text message, you would be instantaneously blocked. So that's not entrapment. I would be like, yo, what the hell was that? Don't blocked, because that's not what I'm trying to do. So if you're replying to it, even if you weren't the one that initiated it, then hey, that's on you now, player. You volleyed the ball back. You volleyed it on back after the serve. You in the game now. So I'm sure, like I said, I saw on the internet people saying, well, that's entrapment because he wasn't actually speaking to a 15-year-old boy, but that's what he thought, and that's a bad thought. And yes, we are putting people in jail for stuff they thinking about doing, like Minority Report. So I'm glad they caught this guy, but parents, be careful. These folks are out here on these apps looking for people to prey on, looking for the kids whose parents are always working or not paying attention. They out here. And hopefully they can catch as many as they can, but they won't catch everybody. So the other side of that is just making sure that you're aware and you prepare your children for these kind of predators. And if they see them, you make sure that they're confident enough to tell you about it, okay? That is that bullshit on that. All right, so oh boy, this one looks crazy. This one looks crazy. All right, guys, we got one that looks crazy here. It says lunch break crash out. So that normally means that someone crashed out on their lunch break. I'm just guessing, but lunch break crash out sounds like a crash out during.
Breaking just into the newsroom.
You know what? Before I move on, I got to address Al Bond and his comment in the chat there, saying that it's probably best to catch those kind of people before they do something. And you know what? You are 100% correct on that. You are 100% correct on it. And the reason why is because when you do that to a child, those scars internally, mentally to the child go on for the entirety of that child's life. So by stopping that guy from doing something before he does it, we're not allowing him to possibly destroy someone else before they even have a chance to live. So that is an awesome comment, and I appreciate you, bro. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. I'm all for that kind of stuff. Call it entrapment, call what you want. That group, I want them off the streets. They need help, and we need to get it to them before they hurt somebody. So that's awesome. But this other situation is even worse. And I apologize. This one apparently is a little graphic. So seems like a gentleman found his wife or his girlfriend in bed with another gentleman as he came home from work for his lunch break. Now, before I get started, the caption is telling me that. I don't want to take it too far, but let's just be honest. If you're coming home from work on a lunch break unannounced, you already know something's up. You know what I'm saying? You already know something's up. If you're coming home from the lunch break unannounced to the house, Obviously, you're with your lady. She knows your schedule. If it's normal for you to come home at lunch break time, she's not going to do certain things, right? So if you're coming home during a lunch break, obviously something's up. Gentlemen, we have discussed this before. You got to stop crashing out over these ladies. Before I even let this clip play, I just must say that, gentlemen, get it together. If she's sleeping with somebody else, you got to just let it be, man. Just roll with it and keep it moving. Take everything you got and go. Because if not, you're going to end up violent because you don't know any other way to lash out but to crash out, and that's the problem.
Breaking just into the newsroom out of Jefferson County, a Bessemer man now faces federal charges for illegally possessing a machine gun. Prosecutors say 24-year-old DeCorleone Robinson was caught with a Glock 9mm pistol outfitted with a machine gun conversion device last month. He's accused of killing 39-year-old Demetrius Beverly, a Parker High School coach. ABC 3340's Gracie Johnson joins us live now from the newsroom. And Gracie, you were in court today. Tell us what happened.
Muriel, 23-year-old DeCorleone Robinson is charged with murder and with modifying his pistol into a machine gun. Investigators say he came home from work, found Beverly in his bed inside the apartment he shared with his girlfriend, and opened fire, killing Beverly.
Birmingham police say the night of August 13th turned deadly inside a Birmingham apartment after DeCorleone Robinson came home from work and found Demetrius Beverly in his bed with his girlfriend. According to Detective Ronald Davenport during Wednesday's preliminary hearing, he testified Beverly was found lying on the bedroom floor with gunshot wounds to his abdomen and arm.
I think it was a sad event. One, you have my client coming home to his home. A man is in his bed with his girlfriend of 5 years. I'm sure a lot of emotions were banning around himself.
Jemiah Lawson, who police say was present at the time and was the longtime girlfriend of Robinson, told detectives that she and Beverly were watching a movie in the bedroom when Robinson arrived home from work.
All right, hold on. You're watching a movie in the bedroom of the apartment that you share with another gentleman who's your boyfriend, and you're in there with another guy at the time he comes home from work. This is not like, there's so much to unpack here, but it's disrespectful. Okay, let's just start with that. It is disrespectful to have somebody up in the house that you share with somebody else. What is wrong with y'all? What do you think the end result's going to be? Even if you don't catch the dude in there right away, it be something. You leave a damn shoe behind like Cinderella. Something. And same for fellas. Be cheating on their lady in the house that they live in. Like, she's not going to notice the other hair that ain't hers. Like, this, it's the dumbest and most disrespectful thing. Like, I'm not trying to empower you guys to go cheat on people. All I'm saying is, go get a hotel. Go get a hotel. Why do you want to be at home? You know emotions are running. If a person is paying for this space, so I'm paying for the space that you cheating on me in, at least when you get a hotel, that's like your money. At least you're paying for the space. If I'm paying for the space that you, oh my God. Now, if the guy was armed with switches and all that, he's a hood nigga, okay? So we know that she messes with hood niggas. And that means that the dude that she had in the apartment with her probably knows that she messes with hood niggas too. So that was poor. That's why you're not supposed to be going over no chick spot like that. Especially not when you don't really know what's going on. There's so much irresponsibility here. But the disrespect of doing that in the place that you share with the person that you are cheating on, who probably pays bills in there to some degree, or whatever, that's the bed y'all lay in. You get my point. It's so disrespectful. And once again, I feel that there's a misdirected anger. The gentleman who was there is the person that got shot. The girlfriend didn't even take one round. I'm just saying. The girlfriend who allowed this man into the house, in the bed, chilling, Netflix and chilling in our bed, and no graze, No accidental, oops, yeah, she jumped, nothing. This is misdirected anger. The gentleman who was in there, yes, he shouldn't have been in there. But the person who was the problem is the woman for letting this man up in the house that she shared with this man. And he crashes out on the dude. So now she's chilling, still got the apartment. He's in jail. The other guy's gone. And now she gets to move on with her life and be, you know, people are going to have sympathy for her because her man in jail or whatever, or her other man or somebody. She's going to utilize this and she's going to be fine. And really, she's the one that's the problem. This is absolutely diabolical.
On his break. Authorities say Lawson described a confrontation
on his
after
break,
which Robinson allegedly pulled out a firearm. Police say multiple shell casings were recovered at the scene, and the weapon appeared to have been modified with a conversion device, sometimes referred to as the Glock switch.
Well, I think they should start off with manslaughter. You take into consideration what the detective said. He said that my client stated that he was only trying to frighten the young man and not trying to kill him.
Following the shooting,
he was trying
Robinson
to frighten
reportedly
him.
ran outside of the...
All right, if you start firing at somebody with a pistol that has the switch thing on it, so it fires like a machine gun, like a pistol machine gun, you're not trying to scare them. You are definitely trying to unalive them. So I don't know what that lawyer's talking about. I see he's trying to make his little case that, yeah, he was just trying to intimidate him. So unless your story is the trigger went off by itself and he didn't actually pull it, that wasn't intimidation once you pull the trigger. You're trying to harm someone, and if the result of that attempt is their loss of life, you go to jail for that. But like I said, let's not remove the true responsibility in this situation. You had a man in the house that you share with another man. He's working. That means he's paying some bills in that joint. He coming home on his lunch break. He works at night. Coming home on his little lunch break, probably trying to get him a quickie. And you in there with this dude? Like I said, everybody probably, there would have been so many shots rung out that pretty much it would have been everybody. I don't see why he just decided on this guy. He must have had a previous issue with the gentleman specifically. Like maybe he told him, yo, I'm gonna get your girl or something like that. And it was like a personal beef in that direction. I don't see why, if you're gonna do that, if you're gonna come in and you're gonna shoot up stuff, hey, take everybody out there. Take everybody out. Is all under the same emotional thing, and you can eliminate all of that. And I know YouTube's going to say I'm promoting violence. I'm not saying that. I'm just trying to say that the anger was misdirected, and it should have been more on the woman than the gentleman. That's all I'm saying, okay?
The apartment
Don't
later
come cancel
instructing
me
Lawson
over
to call 911. And police say the gun was recovered behind nearby garage buildings.
Being in your early 20s, I can imagine you would be kind of nervous. You've taken someone's life. You're on trial for it, so you have something to be nervous about.
Robinson appeared in court today while on bond, and the judge ruled the case will now await action of a grand jury. Bail amounts for both charges remain unchanged.
While the judge said bail amounts for the state charges remain unchanged, as soon as Robinson left the courthouse today, he was taken into federal custody by ATF.
Oh, shit. Oh, yeah, because of the gun charge. So ATF got a charge. ATF got a charge, and the state got a charge. So he's going to see some time. But that's what I'm saying. He crashed out over all of that, and at the end of it, the woman, who to me is the person that was the catalyst to this explosion, is just out here free, living her life. She's going to be perfectly fine. She don't care about either one of them dudes. They both gone. Two guys, lives over, all over her trying to have Netflix and chill in the apartment that she shared with another dude. That is just diabolical, you know. And so I'm not trying to hear all the other stuff with the particulars of the case because I know what happened. I know he's seen a dude in the bed, you know, feet kicked up with his socks off and his toenails out, and lost it. That's what happened. But none of that would have happened if the door had not been open and allowed the gentleman to come in. So I believe she should have charges too. Intentional infliction of emotional distress against the gentleman who ended up shooting the other gentleman. Now, granted, she won't go to jail for it, but just something, please. We got to stop this. Because, like I said, that woman is going to walk on with her life. She'll find another crash out dude who be holding guns with switches. Like I said, she like street niggas. So we get that. So she'll find another one. And just because the other guy was a coach, that don't mean nothing. He was coaching, you know, the Pee-wee football. He wasn't like a college coach, you know what I'm saying? He was coaching Pee-wee football. Pop Warner. He's coaching Pop Warner over there. So, you know, he's in the streets too. So they probably all street folks. And if you know that that's what she's dealing with, then you know she'll find another person that'll fill that spot. She won't think nothing about either one of them dudes whose lives are over. So, gentlemen, you got to choose wisely, first of all, who you messing with, because that's what the other guy learned. Second, actually, everybody learned that. The gentlemen both learned that. One, because he was there when he wasn't supposed to be, and the other one, because she allowed some man in their bed. Like, I wouldn't even be able to sleep in the bed no more after that. I know you done fluidized all of this with some other dude's wet ass balls and just, oh my God. Like I said, I see it. I understand. They in the bed. It's different when you catch somebody out like at a restaurant or something. Okay, we don't know what they've done. But you know if they're in the bedroom on some Netflix and chill, you know what they did. There's no question. It probably smelled like sex in there. Latex rubbers all over the floor. It just sent the man over the edge. And he should go do jail time, yes, because he committed a crime. But I just think it's unfair that nobody is going to say nothing to or about the young lady that created the problem in the first place. But I'll leave that alone before I get myself in trouble. Utter disrespect. What it is. Just disrespectful. And I don't like that. That's all it is. I'm sorry. I get passionate about stuff. I don't know them people, really. So I'm not that mad. You know, I don't really know. That guy might have been a horrible guy. Maybe, you know, I don't know. All I'm saying is, fellas, you got to choose wiser than that. I'm come home on your lunch break? Oh, my goodness. Trying to text her. She ain't answering back, you know. All right, guys, so let's move into this conversation that has brought me to the internet today. That initially I thought was a troll, because I have been asking for someone to hold Google and YouTube and some other people accountable for certain suppression and censorship, right? And what I found, I did a study on some metrics, and I found that there was a certain percentage of channels, so on and so forth, that were muted from the algorithm outside of their subscribers, which mostly were coming from the shorts feed, right? And apparently that was anybody that spoke against the president, any administration, to be honest with you. So if you speak against the current president, Google and Alphabet is who owns Google, which is connected to YouTube, and you know the rest. They were instructed to suppress a bunch of information and suppress certain content creators and certain conversations at the behest of the federal government. So apparently they wrote a letter to Jim Jordan, who is he's like the chairman of the House committee. They wrote him a letter explaining this and basically said that they're going to let off a little bit. So I'll let y'all see a little bit of the text, and we are going to go from there. So let me see. Alphabet has spelled out the BS. So my question is, has anybody, I know I have, but I don't know how many other people were susceptible to basically what I call the box-in. The box-in is where you throw a bunch of different topics and stuff out, right? And you see what the algorithm starts pushing you backwards into, what gets the most push, you know, what topics. It's not natural like you think it is. It's because the algorithm wants people to discuss certain topics. So it's not that everybody just wants to talk about something. It's because the algorithm wants everybody to talk about it. So you think it's organic, like because a lot of people have interacted with certain content, they get certain other content. But that's not how it works. If they want you to speak about a certain topic, they box the results in, so you only receive certain results. And in a lot of cases, it skews your idea of reality and what context everything is in. So apparently Google has decided to apologize for that. Well, let's take a quick look. So nonetheless, they sent this letter, a statement of facts from Alphabet, and basically they said that the Biden administration and Alphabet during the COVID-19 pandemic, they conducted repeated and sustained outreach to Alphabet and pressed the company regarding certain user-generated content related to the COVID-19 pandemic that did not violate its policies. While the company continued to develop and enforce its policies independently, Biden administration officials continued to press the company to remove non-violative user-generated content. So it's not AI, it's real, and it didn't violate their policies, but they were asked by the administration to remove it. They go into YouTube a little further and say that the YouTube variant there had a content moderation already, and the federal government has transparently involved the policy framework related to COVID-19 and the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, what I want you to understand is COVID was 2020. Coming out with a letter now to say, hey, we screwed you over 5 years ago, just saying, and now we're going to loosen the reins a little bit on whether or not we allow the federal government to do what they did with that. That's what this letter is about. This letter is basically saying, we've been allowing this, and we're just not going to allow it anymore. So that even means up to right now. That even means the current administration. So what they're trying to say is, yeah, they'll spin it because they mentioned the Biden administration in the initial document because that was the previous administration where it started. But Alphabet and Google, connected to YouTube, are taking the same stance among everything that's going on right now. Why? Because somebody's pressing them too. So instead of saying, hey, right now you guys are pressing us and we're not doing that, what they said is, we're going to admit that we did it before and say that we're not going to do it again. And what that covers is the current administration. So the current administration can't say, well, we want you to do this for us, if they've already said, well, we're not doing that no more. So what they did was they backtracked it a little bit to push the blame somewhere else where you can't go back to right now, right? So that they can try not to suppress content that might be positive or negative, depending on what the algorithm they are using is asking for, positive or negative to the Trump administration. You'll notice recently the Trump administration has been making moves when it comes to positive versus negative coverage on media outlets. Well, YouTube is no longer just a website. People go there for news. So they're considered media outlet. So they now have to follow the same kind of, I want to call it a grift. The same movement that you would see on network TV is what will happen inside of the inside of our YouTube space. So it sounds like they're about to let the reins out, but what they're really trying to say is they're already suppressing content right now based on the current administration. And they're trying to tell the current administration in a very sly way, we're not going to do that no more, without exposing the current administration speaking negatively of it, because you see how the hell that ends up. So I see what they did there. This is slick. This is very slick. They said, oh yeah, we've been doing this. We're not going to do it no more. And we're not going to mention that we're doing it right now. You see what I'm saying? They mention the Biden administration. They don't say, what did it stop on election day? No, not at all. It continued in whatever direction they've been pushing it. And they're saying, even if you tell us we can't say bad about you, if we open up the realm a little bit, right? You can't close it again because people start talking trash about the president, which is smart. I'll give them that. It's actually a very smart move how they did it, because you can't take away what was already done. And so they're just saying, hey, we did that and we're not doing any more of this. So let's see what we got here. All right, so this piece right here is very important. So transparency regarding government interactions with private companies is essential for fostering public trust and upholding the principles of free expression. Laws around the world affect the availability of content across Alphabet's products and services, and the company publishes data in a quarterly transparency report regarding content removal requests in an effort to inform discussions about online content regulation. Governments and law enforcement agencies make legal requests in an effort to moderate content. You hear that? Governments and law enforcement agencies make legal requests in an effort to moderate content according to their views and their demands, and come with significant penalties for non-compliance. So if you don't do what the government says, it comes with a problem, is what they're saying. So that's why they do it. What that's also doing is putting on front street any retaliatory claims that come as a result of opening the floodgates, and it be a whole bunch of stuff that used to be blocked. Now all of a sudden you're seeing content, and I'm not going to lie, I've noticed some changes in the last 2 or 3 days on YouTube as far as what they're feeding me. So something's up. I don't know what they're doing, but something's definitely up. But that number 26 piece is very, very important. Alphabet has a track record of pushing back against overly broad or otherwise inappropriate government demands for user data and content removals, including objecting to some demands entirely. So what they're saying is, this is what we're going to keep doing, but this is what we were doing, and this is what we're going to keep doing. So they changed something in the last week or two, and now they're apparently going to open the floodgates. Now, here's the question. Does that open the floodgates for anything other than hate speech? Because that's what I think everybody wants to call the problem. They call it hate speech. If you don't agree with somebody, it's hate speech. If you don't agree with their take on something, it's hate speech. Everything is hate speech now. So even though hate speech used to just be like racially motivated, it was like black people only, and that was it. Then it became like the Asians got hate speech rules. But at this point, they call everything hate speech if they don't like it. It's as simple as that. And it's whoever the current administration is. So if Alphabet does what I want them to do, which is loosen up the reins, it might be good for free speech. And I think what they're doing is they're bowing to the knee on paper, but what they're also doing is going to backfire on the Trump administration, because then there's going to be information out there that they don't want people to hear, and they're not going to be able to suppress it because they force Google to stop suppressing positive things about them. So they're like, okay, we'll flood it with everything and let the chips fall where they may. And I think what you'll end up seeing is more content creators that don't like either side. You see what I'm saying? You'll see those folks in the middle, the Indepublicrats, that just follow, what does the policy do for my family and my community? And that's it. Is this helping? Is it hurting? Very basic pass-fail kind of logistics. That group has been silenced as well because they need you to be on a side, a specific side. So if you try to play the middle of the fence so that you can be objective, they didn't want objective thinkers. They needed you to be on a side so they could decide which box and which stream to put you in as far as who they fed you to. So for channels like this, they confuse because they're like, well, we can't put them in this or this, and so we have to suppress the whole thing because we can't put them in everything. So we'll see what Google and them do. We'll see. I think there's a small crusty layer of BS on the top of it, though, personally. Because what you're telling us is you've been censoring shit. And what, am I supposed to trust you now because you wrote a letter to Jim Jordan? Jim Jordan don't get to come down and audit your servers and shit. So you can say whatever you want on paper, Alphabet. I still don't trust them. I know they got too much going on. They got a monopoly on information. They block me from being able to fully search the internet. The internet should be for everybody. I do not need my own search engine preventing me from pulling back information. And that's what it does currently, if you didn't know. Okay? You are fed your feed. Don't get it twisted. None of it's random when you do a Google search. Some of it has to do with relevance. Some of it has to do with location. Some of it has to do, like the results. Some of it has to do with promotions that were paid for by companies in the area so that they can show up on your damn Google search. It's a whole box that they push you in. They want you to buy certain products. Amazon is not the only place that sells things online. But when you go look for a product online, the first few results are going to be like Amazon, Walmart, all the companies that pay to be first on there. But there's a million businesses that sell things online that you're probably looking for, and they are suppressed. SEO won't pick it up and say, oh, you're looking for a nice t-shirt? Hey, go to freemanservices.org/shop. They have a whole bunch of t-shirts over there. And you see what I'm saying? Won't even, unless you pay for it. So just understand, Alphabet be on some BS. And I've been on their ass for, pause, but I've been on to them for a minute. But unfortunately, they have the largest forum. They have a monopoly on it. They got YouTube. They got Google. They got the SSO sign-ins for everything, and we're stuck with them. They got Android. You know what I'm saying. So you can't get away from it, but at least you can be aware of it. All right? All right, so as we continue down our political street here, as we get ready to round the last corner, apparently our illustrious president has made a series of gaffes in the last week with recent speeches, okay? And basically, I gotta find this clip because apparently they just took it down. See, that's the thing. When you get stuff on the internet, sometimes within 24 hours, somebody reports it and they take it down. But folks have been up in arms about President Trump's speech to the UN. And I'm going to pull that up. Oh, excellent. And while you wait, man, hit the like button. Hit it.
Actually creating new problems.
I want the full speech. This is one of the highlights. Let's see what we got. All right, we're going to just go with this one. This is like a minute-long clip here. All I know is people are saying that he embarrassed himself at the UN thing. I didn't watch the whole speech. Trying to figure out what he did, because he can be embarrassing, because he's off the cuff. He's kind of unprofessional at times. You know, he's an older white guy, kind of says what he wants, you know, stands on his opinions. And honestly, some of his opinions are a little weird about how he feels. So it comes across as pretty arrogant to most people, because he'll go into another country and be like, thank you for allowing me to come to your shithole country. Like, he'll go to your country and talk shit about it. So if you don't know, that is who the United States has decided to roll with for the next couple of years. So none of it surprises me at this point. When they come to me and say, oh, well, Trump said something that pissed some people off. It's like, well, what? Isn't it a weekday? Like, isn't it one of the days of the week? Because he does that every day. He wakes up at 4 o'clock in the morning to piss y'all off. He really does. So let's see what this damn speech is about. No, I'm serious. He does things, like I think he wakes up and he's like, how can I get these people talking about me this morning? And probably talks to Caroline Levitt and says, Caroline, what can I do this morning to piss off at least 20% of people so I get everybody else talking? And so when they wrote the speech for his UN thing, apparently the teleprompter stopped working. And that's like the worst thing you can ever have happen at any Trump speech is the damn teleprompter stop working. Because a Trump tangent is enough to get a disclaimer put under a video where it'll say, you know, certain topics are harmful to people. Like, you'd be like, damn, what is he talking about? So apparently the teleprompter stopped working when he freestyled. It didn't go well.
Not only is the UN not solving the problems it should, too often, it's actually creating new problems for us to solve. The best example is the #1 political issue of our time, the crisis of uncontrolled migration. It's uncontrolled. Your countries are being ruined. The United Nations is funding an assault on Western countries and their borders. In 2024, the UN budgeted $372 million in cash assistance to support an estimated 624,000 migrants journeying into the United States. Think of that. The UN is supporting people that are illegally coming into the United States, and then we have to get them out. The UN also provided food, shelter, transportation, and debit cards to illegal aliens. Can you believe that? On the way to infiltrate our southern border. Millions of people came through that southern border. Just a year ago, millions and millions of people were pouring in, 25 million altogether over the 4 years of the incompetent Biden administration. And now we have it stopped, totally stopped.
Look at these people's faces. These people are, why did they go to El Salvador to show the first face? Did El Salvador send a bunch of people or something? But nobody seems happy with this speech. But he literally walks into the UN. It's like walking into somebody's house and talking shit about their carpet. Like, why do you even have this? Because it's an ugly carpet. This makes the house look ugly. That you even wasted your money and time on this carpet. That's how he came in, and then he wiped his shoes all over it. Like, how do you... See, I'm from the U.S., born and raised, right? I can only imagine if somebody comes from overseas, because nobody comes from overseas to talk shit over here. It just doesn't happen. When they get close, they get shut down. And it doesn't matter who the president is. But this particular president will go to somebody else's spot and tell them how shitty their spot is. He'd be like, look around you. Your place is crazy what you guys did. What happened? That's how he gets down. And like I said, to some, that was the reason why he got elected, was because he was so real. Like, that's, hey, if he feels that way, if he truly feels that these places are crap, and that's what he's saying, I gotta respect it. That doesn't mean that he's being nice about it. What I'm saying is at least he does actually feel that way. He's not just saying it because it's something nice to say or something mean to say. He's saying it because he really thinks that these countries are shit and that they let these people into the U.S. and they funded a bunch of people migrating across the southern border. That is crazy to me. Like, we didn't have to go to the UN to have this conversation. We could have had this conversation on the phone, on the Zoom, while we were in our respective offices. You came out here to embarrass people like the UN. He didn't even say a particular country. He said the UN is funded 25 million or whatever illegal migrants through the United States southern border and gave them debit cards and all this other shit. He blamed the UN for the migrant crisis. Wow. That's A. That's A.
In fact, they're not even coming anymore because they know they can't get through. But what took place is totally unacceptable. The UN is supposed to stop invasions, not create them, and not finance them. In the United States, we reject the idea that mass numbers of people from foreign lands can be permitted to travel halfway around the world, trample our borders, violate our sovereignty, cause unmitigated crime, and deplete our social safety net. Not only is the UN...
All right, well, I can see where some people, apparently they have a, some opinions. Okay, let me see if we get to the teleprompter thing, because he basically shat upon them over the teleprompter too. Watch this.
Very much appreciated. And I don't mind making this speech without a teleprompter, because the teleprompter is not working. I feel very happy to be up here with you nevertheless, and that way you speak more from the heart. I can only say that whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
Now, that seems well received. People were laughing. I bet they wasn't laughing when he said that second part. They were laughing at first. He was, it was humorous because he didn't have the teleprompter. Yeah, they were laughing at him. Okay. It was real funny till he blamed y'all for the migrant invasion in the United States. He blamed the UN, not a particular country, not a particular group. No, the UN as an organization. Jesus. That's a bold claim, bro. I mean, I'm sure you got some receipts somewhere. Somebody told you that. But that's like, wow. Like, if you're one of the countries that has nothing to do with it, you're over there like, what the hell is he talking? What do you mean the UN? We've been paying our dues over here. We ain't got nothing to do with the migrant crisis in the U.S. Why is he saying the UN? We part of the UN. I'm sure there's countries in there that have nothing to do with that.
Whoever's operating this teleprompter is in big trouble.
Yo, hold up. Did y'all see that look? This look. Y'all see this look? Someone just got fired. Someone's job, right? That look, someone's job is gone. Anytime you see that look, that is an employment opening has just happened. So I'm sure whoever was the tech got fired. And hopefully the tech was like somebody he brought with him that he got to take home. But I doubt it. It's probably somebody local to where they are. Maybe they, got them on a little contract to do the audio video for the damn the convention, and they mess up, and you get this look from Donald Trump. That's your job. Someone just lost their job. So they're saying the UN sabotaged his thing. Let's see what we got. All right, because we got.
When I don't like them, I don't like them. But we had
finish it up,
at least
they're
for
talking.
about 39 seconds. We had excellent chemistry. It's a good sign. But also in the past, Brazil, can you believe this? Unfairly tariffed our nation, but now because of our tariffs, we are hitting them back, and we're hitting them back very hard. As president,
and Brazil's sitting in there.
I will always defend our national sovereignty and the rights of American citizens. So I'm very sorry to say this, that Brazil is doing poorly and will continue to do poorly.
God.
They can only do well when they're
We help
working
them
with
out.
us.
Right.
Without us, they will fail, just as others have failed. It's true. Next year, the United States will celebrate the 250th anniversary of our glorious independence, a testament to enduring power and American freedom and spirit. We will also be proudly
Teleprompter's on now. The teleprompter's on now, so he's good on
hosting
this.
the 2026 FIFA World Cup.
World Cup.
And shortly thereafter, the 2028 Olympics, which is going to be very exciting. I hope you all come. I hope that countless people from all over the globe will take part of these will be great celebrations of liberty and human achievement, and that together we all can rejoice in the miracles of history that began in July 4th, 1776, when we founded the light to all nations. And it's something really that an amazing thing came out of that date. It's called the United States of America. In honor of this momentous anniversary, I hope that all countries who find inspiration in our example will join us in renewing our commitment, values, and those values really that we hold so dear together. Let us defend free speech and free expression. Let us protect religious liberty, including for the most persecuted religion on the planet today. It's called Christianity. And
I told y'all, God been in the conversation lately. I don't know if we want to call these people whatever we want to call them, but God been back in the conversation lately. It's a good thing to me, but people get it all twisted up. But he's making a very specific mention of a religion in the world. Now, I know some people are going to say Christians aren't persecuted. Christians aren't persecuted. Okay. That's an opinion. You can have that. But there has been an assault on the morality fabric and the morality complex that has eroded because I believe that we removed God from a lot of the conversations. And so if this got to bring it back, I can't blame the messenger. It might not be the messenger I wanted. I'll tell you that. But if it starts the conversation and maybe people can meet in the middle and understand that we're all living this human experience, maybe it might make the whole world a little bit better. So
let us safeguard our sovereignty and cherish qualities that have made each of our nations so special, incredible, and extraordinary. In closing, I just want to repeat that immigration and the high cost of so-called green renewable energy is destroying a large part of the free world and a large part of our planet. Countries that cherish freedom are fading fast because of their policies on these two subjects. You need strong borders and traditional energy sources if you are going to be great again. Whether you have come from north or south, east or west, near or far, every leader in this beautiful hall today represents a rich culture, a noble history, and a proud heritage that makes each nation majestic and unique, unlike anything else in human history or any other place on the face of the earth. From London to Lima, from Rome to Athens, from Paris to Seoul, from Cairo to Tokyo and Amsterdam to right here in New York City, we stand on the shoulders of the leaders and legends, generals and giants, heroes and titans who won and built our beloved nations.
All right, I get it. So anyway, the teleprompter came back on and he started that. But at some point, we have to be honest. I don't know what change any of this is going to make. One thing I will say is God's been in the conversation a lot. So we'll see where that goes. That might be helpful. Can't blame the messenger for that. So we'll see what Trump and them do. But I think he was kind of disrespectful. He went right in there and talked about their houses. You know, he went right up in there and talked about your house sucks, your kitchen is dirty, and you can't get nothing cleaned up unless you call us. And people apparently objected to that. So I can see why you might object to that. But meanwhile, there was some other things going on with our president. Yeah, there was some other stuff going on that y'all might have heard of, which is there was a statue erected, put up. A statue was put up on the White House lawn during the same time that he was doing this UN speech. And it's an interesting statue because it is a statue of Donald Julius Trump and Epstein. So I got questions. I definitely have some questions here because how are you going to just put a statue anywhere and nobody's like, they have an issue with it, nobody stops you? So they must have got a permit for
statue of Donald Trump.
All right, hold on. Let's see. We got a statue of Donald Trump and Epstein. It's called the BFF statue. Take a look. All right. We're going to spend 2 minutes on this. All right, so this is the Donald Trump-Epstein statue. They're holding hands, and it's apparently supposed to be best friends forever. Let's hear the story.
Statue of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein holding hands is causing outrage in Washington, D.C. It appeared near the White House with a plaque celebrating.
Yo, in honor of Friendship Month. You know how long it takes to make a statue? Anyway.
Celebrating their friendship, an anonymous artist group called the Secret Handshake claims responsibility. Activists say it was timed for September's Friendship Month.
It's a good reminder that we're not going to be distracted and that this administration needs to release these files.
I mean, it's a message. You got to release the files or release what you know.
I think it's kind of important to keep on highlighting the connection, but I wish they did a better job on the faces.
President Trump blasted it as a waste of money, reminding reporters he banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago years ago. The White House accused Democrats and the media of ignoring Epstein's crimes.
Fox 11 weather.
Okay, so, all right, guys. Let me back it up here a little bit. I think you can see the statue here. So we've got Donald Trump and Epstein statue placed on the National Mall, looks like. And they came and took it down late that night. I don't know if they damaged it or whatever, but let's just be honest. They got marble and stuff on it. It's put together pretty well. They had to get a big old truck to bring it out there. They had to set it up. The police didn't stop them from setting it up. The police didn't stop them from pulling up with the big old truck. They allowed the news to get the footage. Then after that happened, they come back later in the night, take it down. That sounds like cinema to me. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump paid for it himself. Somehow, maybe he didn't even know he paid for it. But money paid for this, and nobody stopped it from happening. When it was you can't just prop a statue up in the middle of the National Mall and nobody notices. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that it was allowed to happen, that's where I smell the bullshit. I definitely smell some bullshit on this. But, okay, let's have the discussion real quick. They want people to not forget about the Epstein files. Let me tell you what. Y'all forgot about the Epstein files when Charlie Kirk got shot, because that's when they voted on it. That same day, when we were all, the news was inundated with Charlie Kirk's assassination, was the same day that the Republicans voted to not release those files. So there's not another vote coming up anytime soon. So they probably had made this statue and they were probably too far into doing it. They were like, we got to complete the statue, you know, but folks, we're not getting them files. Not happening. Okay? I've said it 1,000 times. I've been saying it. I'm going to keep saying it. It's not about not being distracted. We have leadership in Congress that votes on this, and they're not voting the way that you think the American people would want to vote. And we can't seem to control that. So until we control that, really not much we can do on that. So you're not getting that. Okay? They voted on it already. So this was a waste of time and resources. So in that regard, Donald Trump was correct. It was a waste of time and resources to create this statue that just got taken down later. I'm sure they could have fed 1,000 homeless people with the amount of money it took to make this thing and place it. So, nonetheless, no, we're not going to forget about the Epstein files, but we need to forget about the Epstein files, if that makes sense. As far as, I don't mean forget about it. I mean, like, don't make it a focus. Don't let it take away from, because you know what it is. You know what's in there. So you can operate with that information. You don't need to see nothing at this point. You know what it is. You know what it is, okay? There are some people in there that are too powerful, that are not even connected by name to certain things right now, and would be connected by name to those things. And it would probably crash the damn economy if we really knew what was going on with that. And because there are federal organizations whose job it is to, you know, basically balance the public discourse, they can't have it happen. It would just cause too much of a landslide. And they don't want to have to mitigate that landslide. So that's why we're not going to get those files. Okay? So don't spend too much time thinking about that. I wanted to highlight the fact that we're still talking about Epstein, and they voted on it a week ago and said no again. So maybe we should just kind of let that one go. Not in a good way, but don't hurt yourself over it. That's all I'm saying. That's some bullshit. All right, so we're going to close this thing out with one last situation here because there was a recent report on the jobs numbers, right? And they got into the jobs numbers because they were trying to make a point that there were jobs being created for people based on the immigration uptick, right? So they're saying because they've deported all of these people, there's a lot of jobs presenting themselves. Now, you got to remember, a lot of the deportations are happening in construction and housekeeping, things like that, because unfortunately, there is a specific group that they're targeting, and they do work a lot of those jobs. 95% of the population in general does not work in housekeeping or construction. So for those people, they have to try to find like skilled work or other jobs, right? And they did a study for those people because what we're trying to do is they're saying all of this is going to help the job market. And so what we want to do is we wanted to check and see how the job market was doing. Well, apparently they found out that the job market is not doing that well, but it's not because of immigrants. It's because there's no jobs, and two, there seem to be bots hiring, okay? So our administration is putting up numbers of jobs, but these jobs are not accurate because the numbers that they're getting are fake jobs. So they're scam jobs. Now, if you don't know what a scam job is, it's basically a job where they'll give you some type of really quick offer, right? Like you fill out one application, next thing you know, they're telling you you're going to get $5,000 a month to do something that normally involves your bank account. Because any job, if you think about it, when you get a real job, you'll put in your banking information into your direct deposit form because that's how you get paid. So even if it's a fake job, if you think it's a real job, if they ask for your banking information, you'll give it to them because you think that's what you would do at any regular job, right? But the labor statistics have showed us. Let me run it here. Let me run it on over here, okay? Here we go. Big Shit 215 stopping in. Appreciate you stopping in. I do. We're getting to the last. We're at the last story today, but it was an interesting story that came up. That 1 in 4 jobs on LinkedIn are likely ghost jobs. And there was even more on Indeed. So it was an interesting story to me because a lot of people are saying that they're trying to find jobs and there's no jobs out there. And then they do a jobs report and they're like, we created 1 million jobs last month and we created 2 million jobs in the last quarter. And we did, but those jobs don't even exist. And some of them aren't even for people. The tasks are the jobs. So if you import AI into something, you had a job that was open, but AI is doing it, you filled the job with AI. So yeah, it's a job listed, but it doesn't really have a person that they're going to put in place. So nonetheless, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics data published Wednesday, job openings in July fell to the lowest in 10 months, 7.81 million from 7.36 million. So that's a lot of jobs, 7 million jobs. And people are having a tough time finding a job. That doesn't make sense to me, does it? Well, it's because the analysis found that 27% of all U.S. job listings, of all, that's about, let's say 30%, of all U.S. job listings on LinkedIn are likely ghost jobs with no intention to hire. So when you go through the time that you take to basically apply, you might get an email, you upload your resume, whatever you're doing, it takes your time. There is 0% chance that you will get that job because the job doesn't exist. Now, I think you should understand that although they are a relatively new phenomenon, when you apply for ghost jobs and you put that information into a place, what happens is they utilize your information and they sell it to leads companies. So you put in, let's say, your age, like by birth date. You put your birthday in there, they know your age. They might ask demographic questions like, are you black, Asian American, whatever. And you can normally opt out of the racial question, but they can still figure it out. A lot of times they can just look at your name and get a good idea of what race you are. And so what they do is they basically take in these applications, and those applications go into a database, and they call those a leads database, and they sell it to another company. So they're basically getting your information for free, but selling it to another company for a cost. So the fact that all of these people are applying for these jobs at all these times, they're basically building up lead systems so you can be properly advertised and sold to. And so let's see what they said here. So the Congressional Research Service says that employers do this for several reasons, as a signal of growth to attract potential investors, because the investors see that they're hiring. They think that, oh, wow, this company must be growing. We can invest in it. They're going forward. But that could be a total lie. To make current employees feel replaceable, so it keeps you on your toes. So you see your job is advertised in Indeed, right? But you're working there right now, and you're like, well, shit, they might be looking to replace me. So it makes you a little more motivated, in their opinion. This is an opinion. That might work, it may not work, but that's the justification that they put behind doing this. They're also doing it to pretend that they're open to external applications that really have an internal candidate in mind. So it's like they do it as a formality because they want to hire this guy that works here, but because of legal obligations, they have to post the job, but they have no intention of hiring somebody that replies to the post other than the person that's already working there, that they'll tell, hey, go to job requisition number, whatever, put in your application, and then they'll push them through on the back end. So the average person trying to get into the company doesn't have a chance. So even though the job is posted, the job is listed, it's not really available. So apparently, they've been running this test for a little while. They found that Los Angeles apparently topped the list with the most ghost jobs. But there, of course, was New York, San Francisco, a couple of other ones, Chicago, Atlanta, but it's normally these larger urban areas. And the reason why is because you can bring in more information quickly. So they're doing a lot with just ghost jobbing for the company. But for the average person that's wasting their time applying for something, uploading a resume, creating a profile account, because a lot of them won't let you even apply without creating some type of profile account to which they sell to somebody else so that they can advertise to you through your Gmail or whatever email you put in there. And they make you check a box. Hey, I don't mind receiving correspondence in regards to jobs or whatever. And you basically sign your junk mail away because all of a sudden you start receiving a bunch of stuff that you didn't ask for a job that never existed. So you wasted your time so they could get your information and basically sell it to somebody else. So I thought it was an interesting thing that they're telling us that there was 7.8 million jobs in that particular quarter, or 7.18 million jobs in that quarter. But if that's the case, and 1 in 3 of them is a ghost job, then there wasn't 7.18 million jobs in that quarter. It was actually more like 5, which is a lot of millions less. So they're lying to you about the job market. The only real way to get a job nowadays is to know somebody at the company. They'll know that they're hiring specifically for a particular role. Networking, basically. You got to network. Because if you go on Indeed, Career Builder, ZipRecruiter, I don't know if they still have monster jobs, but I'm sure they do. They got a million sites with the same thing. And they got bot jobs. And if you go into them, you'll see some things that pop up. So I'm going to have a quick conversation here, but let me get ready to get out of here because it's about that time. So those disheartening results that show, that among those who posted fake jobs, approximately a quarter of them were fake job listings. They range from entry-level roles to executive positions. They'll say executive assistants, personal assistants, data entry, customer service. All of these roles that a person might genuinely be looking for, they have a bunch of fake jobs sitting there. And if you know how to look for them, you can kind of see it, but it normally takes the initial interaction. Like you apply, and then what they send you back, like they send it from some Yahoo mailbox, or it doesn't have good contact information on it, or you look up the address and it takes you to some real generic place or something. I've seen some of them where they'll have an address on there, and you'll look up the address, and it'll be, let's say, like an office building, which would make sense, right? And what I do is I call the leaser of the office building and just ask if that company is an actual resident of the building, because that's public information, so they can disclose that to you. They can't disclose how much the lease is, but you can say, hey, is XYZ company a resident at this particular address? And they can tell you yes or no. So you have to do that. Secondarily, or tertiarily, or whatever airily I'm at right now, you have to also verify web addresses. So whatever email address they send from, the domain. Now, there's a lot of this is stuff that people probably know, right? The point I'm trying to make is how much time you have to go through to research to find out if this thing is fake or real, which is a total waste of your time because it was fake when it started. So they know it's fake when they're sending it to you. They know they're going to waste your time when they're sending it to you, and they're allowed to do it. I believe that there should be some regulation on this, especially if it's this rampant. You see what I'm saying? Are we not able to regulate the digital job market? Should it not be against the law to post a job that, one, does not exist, or two, you're using the information you get back for nefarious reasons or sales so you can sell the information as leads? I believe that that is disingenuous and needs to be dealt with. Nobody's saying anything about it, but the job market is shit right now. But you're telling me there's 7 million new jobs out there. And where are they? I don't know. Because if that was the case, then the unemployment rate would drop significantly if people were filling these 7 million jobs. But you're counting these jobs, and a lot of them aren't even real jobs that people can actually fill. So they're giving us a whole, it's like I want to say it's a lie. But it's based on data that they are reading because employers are creating these fake jobs. So to them, it is true data. But we know what it really is. So I'm having an issue with that because I'm a big proponent on I don't like people wasting people's time. And people out here trying to make a living for themselves and have a better life, and you're wasting their time by posting fake jobs for skilled workers. So you got a person that has skills with something, and they are a serious candidate for a position, but they're wasting time applying to your fake ass job. So if we could get some regulation on that, I really think that companies should have penalties for that, and scam artists using those job boards to do scams, they should face serious crimes and serious charges for that. Because one, they're doing something nefarious to a person who's doing this in good nature. When you're looking for a job, you're doing this in good nature. You're humbling yourself to be basically asking someone for help by applying. I need help with a job. You are an employer. I want to work. So you're humbling yourself, and then somebody's basically giving you the middle finger for the sake of a scam or for some of those other reasons that we talked about. So that's an issue for me. They're trying to deceive their own employees. That's an issue for me. Making workers feel replaceable. That's an issue for me. They're basically collecting your information and resumes for future use in case somebody quits. That's another thing. They are interviewing, but they're not actually hiring. But what will happen is somebody will quit, and they'll have a guy that interviewed 2 weeks before or a week before, and they're like, oh, okay, well, we're hiring now, and they'll bring the person on, and that person will be like, oh, this was a real job. But initially it wasn't. They were just in a pinch. They needed to pull somebody in. So 85% of these companies actually interview people for jobs that don't exist. This is statistical. This is not just me coming up with a number. This is literally what the study found. 85% of these companies with fake jobs will actually interview you for a fake job, knowing that you will not be hired, knowing that and they'll have like an AI interview too, where you'll put in information and they'll be like, hey, we'll get in touch with you on Teams or WhatsApp or some goofy shit like that. And you then, at that point, you're like, okay, this is BS, right? But you've already taken up, let's say, at least an hour of your time dealing with the back and forth and, trying to figure out if it's real. So it's a total waste of time. And I think they need to have some legislation against that. Maybe we can get that into a vote where there's some penalties for that. Because I don't think there's any penalty for it. If there is one, I don't know what it is. Because if you don't hire somebody for something, now I'm sure if you scam them and you get like their bank account information, there's probably some criminal charges that you can be found with then. But a lot of times they're not even using real names. You don't know who these people are. And it's basically almost half of the digital job. So if you want a job, best way to do it is to find a company near you that actually does some of the stuff that you like to do, and go to the company website. Not use Indeed. Do not use Career Builder, all that kind of stuff. This is the only way to do this. And I know it's kind of a headache because you got to find the companies in your area. You got to come up with how far do I want to commute? How many companies in my area offer this service? You got to do a lot, but at least that work won't be in vain. When you do it with the bots, it's pointless time waste. And you get no result from it other than your information is now available to somebody who's going to try to call you and get you to buy life insurance or something stupid like that. So you guys got to be careful out here because the fake jobs is not just corporate BS. It's like a systematic attack on working people's hope, dignity, and most importantly, their time, which is the most valuable part. And it's all for the sake of their money and them having a leads generating database that they can sell to some other company while you sit at home hoping to get a call back for a job that never existed. That's rough for me to even see that. I know people are going through that. So if you're out there looking for a job, good luck out there because there's not 7 million jobs just hanging around waiting for you to pop up. That's a lie. And we got to shame the lie. It's tougher out here. There's less jobs. They deported a bunch of people. I don't see a bunch of jobs opening up because of that, because those industries were already inundated with a certain group of people. So to backfill them, a skilled worker, let's say a person has a 20-year history in, let's say, IT, right? They're not going to a construction site, so that job means nothing to them. See what I'm saying? So I don't even want to use those numbers anymore. What I'm going to say is the job market is tough, and even if you do find a job, everybody's trying to make as much money as they can off of you. So they're going to try to pay you as little as they can, and if you're in a desperate spot, you're going to say yes, because everybody's got to live and everybody's got to eat. Everybody's got to take care of themselves, and a lot of us have to take care of a family. So it's a diabolical trade-off. I have to waste my time in hopes that someone will give me an opportunity to come and break my back for them so that I can get a paycheck to take care of my family. And they use our weakness and exploit it digitally and then sell our information. And we don't get a cent from it. So, I don't know. I know it's an interesting topic for some people. Like, hold up, this is a little different than what I would have thought the show would have been about. But anybody that knows me knows I hate when people waste my time. Or waste anyone's time, like doing shit that just make things take longer than it has to. Even traffic is like that. When a person's driving super slow, there's no car in front of them, and they're coming up on a light, the light's turning yellow, they're not trying to go through it, you got to bust out around them. That's how I feel. Sometimes people just slow you down just for the sake of slowing you down. Then when they see you trying to move forward, they'll slow down even more. Like they were going slow in the first place. Then you get close to them to let them know, hey, move up, move it out the way, something. They will slow down even more. They will hinder your progress even more because they know you are on your way somewhere. And that's not just a metaphor. That's real. People will do that to you. So you got to be careful out here. It's not just the physical people. Online, your digital presence is also being slowed down as well. Whether it's through fake employers, whether it's through Google suppression for content, they're slowing us down out here because they need us to maintain just being needy of the government. If we all were prospering, this stuff would be a lot easier. They need us to be in a caste system where we are just receiving information, but they're the ones dictating what we get. You want a job, we're going to dictate what jobs you actually get to see and not regulate the ones that are totally wasteful. So, nonetheless, I got to get out of here. Special shouts to my man, Al Bond, my sergeant in arms. Just to let you guys know, in 2 weeks, we're going to be gifting memberships for October. So we're going to be gifting about 10 memberships for October. Make sure once you get to the membership stuff, we're going to have some members-only lives going on, do some more IRL content. We're going to be doing the protest for No Kings. We're not going to be protesting. We're just going to be talking to people. You know, I don't believe in destroying nothing, but we can stand outside and have a conversation. I'm all with that. So special shouts to Al Bond, everybody who's in here. Let me give my shout outs and let me get up out of here, okay? Al Bond, you getting the applause because you stayed all the way in. All the way to the end. I know there's a couple of y'all still sitting there. All right. And let's see who else we got in here. Who else do we have in here? That my man Big Chid 215 stopped through. We had who was it that came through earlier that I saw? Jay Coleman. Jay Coleman, nice to see you stop in. Haven't seen you in a minute. Who else we got in here? Of course, I Am Z, the lovely I Am Z, and of course, Purple Groovy. My mods, y'all stay with me. Make sure that y'all get into the Discord as well. Anybody that catches the replay, make sure that you get into the Discord, because if you're not part of the conversation and you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And that, my friends, is the bullshit. We up out of here. Peace.